Coming up on this week's Elder Scrolls Weekly, we talk about DLC, new places and new races. We've got a brand new episode of the Cabbage List, and we've got fresh details about becoming Emperor. It's all on this week's Elder Scrolls Weekly. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to episode 6 of Elder Scrolls Weekly. We've got a good show coming up for you today. We've got more OLAF, some DLC news, and some stuff that I certainly haven't seen before about becoming the Emperor. And I'm joined as ever by Mr. Andy Kelly. You alright?
Hello, yes, very well.
Excellent stuff.
And let me just mention, if you're watching this and you've yet to subscribe, you should subscribe now.
Why?
Or else.
He's threatening you.
Yeah.
Personal threats from Andy Kelly there. You can't get that on any other Elder Scrolls Weekly show, I don't think. So we'll get stuck in straight away with the new DLC stuff. So most of this has come from an interview that Paul Sage has done recently, because there's obviously a lot of new stuff coming out of QuakeCon, most of which is sort of widely available, but I think we're going to speculate a little bit on some of the things he said to kind of expand upon it and hopefully sort of look at what that could mean for Elder Scrolls Online. So basically, he's promised an even bigger story after release. So you've got the main sort of Molag Bal story in Elder Scrolls Online, and after that, quite sort of unexpectedly, really, I think that they're going to do sort of a kind of robust series of DLC stuff after that. So have you got any thoughts about what it could be, Andy?
Yeah, well, because this is an MMO and a lot of MMOs follow similar paths, I'm thinking about World of Warcraft, where you had Cataclysm, which was a really, really great update, actually. It not only did it remodel a lot of environments, like it tore these great big fissures through the earth, and they took the opportunity to rejig a lot of the quests and stuff. So I think it's going to be, we're going to see like Molag Bal's, like, you know, his nefarious plan. I think it will start shaping the map, which would be interesting, because not only does it give you new story opportunities, it also freshens up old environments for veteran players. So yeah, like in World of Warcraft, like a previously low level area was reshaped into a higher level area, so it was like, you know, it was interesting. It just made it gave old players something fresh, and it also gives them an opportunity to promote the game and go new. It's been revamped, it's been updated. So I think we're going to see like World of Warcraft style expansions, Burning Crusade, Cataclysm, and you know, I think that's what they'll do.
It's definitely the benchmark, I think, Cataclysm, especially if you played it for a while before, sort of seeing areas like in the Barrens where they kind of, you know, it completely changed geographically.
They split it in half, didn't they? Yeah, they had like
really
an alliance side and a horde side. That was cool. I think it'd be good if they did something like that. I'd like to see the map reshaped.
And we were talking about it's quite a physical story, like the idea of the whole world being pulled into a different sort of plane of existence. So like, yeah, you know, it'd be amazing to see it like, you know, halfway there or something like that. Sort of,
yeah, like weird tears opening in the sky and stuff. I mean, you know, what if like, you know, Red Mountain erupted or something like that? I know that when that happens, it's like bad news. It like plunges all of Morrowind into darkness or whatever. But you know, they could do stuff like that. Yeah, I'd want to see that. And
I think one of the things that I sort of gleaned from this as well, and again, it's very vague stuff, but you know, there is a slim chance, I think, with DLC that we could see areas outside of Tamriel itself. So I mean, we've seen the Tamriel map is just really a continent, and there's other parts of Nirn, so it's a huge, great big world with areas that haven't been explored. So that's probably a little bit greedy to even think about that at this point. But
yeah, well, I guess like World of Warcraft again, where Northrend was just plopped on the map, you know, and then Pandaria was just appeared on the map. So even though, I mean, there's a lot of islands and places. You got like what's it called? Summer Isle? Not Somerset Isle, where the elves are from. So they could go, an expansion is set there, and you know, it'd be easy, from a technical perspective, it'd be easy to, you get on a boat and the dock somewhere, and you know, appear there. So there's loads of places, and it's like there's an island, like a mysterious island in Elder Scrolls lore. It's like a sort of jungly, sort of Jurassic, kind of forgotten, like lost world kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you know, there's a lot of places where that have been mentioned but never fleshed out, so they've got perfect opportunities there for expansions.
I think islands especially work totally well in kind of just a sort of a DLC capacity of just being able to plonk it on top of whatever else is there.
They've got to do expansions though, and they will, but I think they are vital to the continued success for an MMO. That's why World of Warcraft has prospered for so long, because the expansions are always great, and they don't just add new areas, they refresh a lot of the, like in Cataclysm, the update like refreshed the whole quest system, where it made it a lot more streamlined. We could like turn in multiple quests at once and stuff. Like they were kind of the questing area was designed so that you'd go through it picking up quests, then you'd go back and turn it all in, and it felt a lot more streamlined. So they've also got opportunities there to fix anything that people don't like, which there will be. Absolutely. There'll be something in this when it gets launched. There'll be something that the community will hate, and they can use expansions to give it a massive overhaul.
I mean, it's obviously in beta now, and I think a lot of this comes from the fact that they're seeing how people play it and how quickly they're getting through it as well, and the fact they're probably going to have to add more to it. But with an MMO, the real Q&A stage of it comes, or quality assurance stage of it comes after it's released, and you've got hundreds of thousands of people playing it and trying to break it essentially, and voicing their dissatisfaction. So, does any of this point to you to what the subscription model could be? Because when they're talking about like a really good system of DLC that will come out after the game's been released, that has to be paid for by something, surely?
Yeah, I mean that's a very good point. They have to make their money somewhere, but whether that's from the a Guild Wars style gem store or whatever, like a
your microtransactions.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but I assume they'll release them as they might release. I doubt they'll do a Blizzard and release them as boxed. Like Mists of Pandaria was recently released it in a box, but that's because Blizzard have got more money than the entire world combined. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean they have to, these big expansions. Someone has to be paying all of ZeniMax Online's wages, whether it will be us or it will be Bethesda at a massive loss. I think it'll be us.
Yeah, it'll probably be us. Yeah. And tying into this as well, this is again going off on a slightly sort of hopeful tangent. I saw an interview with Paul at QuakeCon, and a colleague of mine asked him about races, and he'd been sort of very candid, saying like no to things that definitely weren't in. And with the races question, understandably, he was a little bit cagey, and he didn't say no outright.
Because that's another thing that World of Warcraft updates do, where they introduce the Worgen and the ridiculous Pandarians and the so yeah, that's another thing. An expansion will usually come with it a new race. So
especially if we're going to different areas, and with that in mind, I'm going to shout out a few races at you, and a couple of them are quite amusing. Like the Kothringi, I think we'll start with them. I only actually found out about these today, just doing a bit of checking up for this, and they are silver-skinned humans, from the Black Marsh. And one of the things that interested me about this is it reminded me that there's this sort of Carnarvon flu. Do you think I'm pronouncing that right?
Probably.
We'll go with that for now. And that's actually sort of rife during this whole period as well.
Right.
So that's actually what wipes out this race, like while it's still at its peak. So
I think they won't be playable, but I think there'll be like settlements in Black Marsh. And they'll probably be oppressed by the Argonians or something, because there's always some sort of racial tension, and that's part of Elder Scrolls, isn't it? Racial tension, especially Skyrim. So yeah, I think these silver-skinned humans, which sound mad, are going to be like, maybe they'll be like sort of like leper colonies or Carnarvon flu colonies or something like that. So yeah, we might see them. I doubt we'll get to play as them though. I think they're as all the playable races are usually got quite a rich lore, so.
You probably help them out. There's loads of stories about like boats of these guys going off from Black Marsh and sort of being turned away because the leprosy thing is exactly right. But one of the things that's interesting about it, staying in Black Marsh, is like the origins of it are kind of typically kind of vague.
Yeah.
But they talk about one Argonian shaman possibly like doing something with a hist tree to help start it, and the hist I think are going to be a big thing. We've seen concept art of them. Already, so perhaps.
Well, isn't the Argonians' passive racial trait not passive? It's racial ability, hist skin.
Yeah, which makes them immune to like exactly this.
So because I don't think Argonians they've got some resistance to disease and stuff, haven't they? 'Cause
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
lizardy
Scaly
biology.
skin.
Yeah. So
And we had a comment on one of the videos earlier. We were talking about how the feet had changed.
from like raptor style
Yeah,
talons to more traditional. That's probably just because they would have to design a whole new set of boots.
yeah, yeah.
Imagine that at every Elder Scrolls game, they had to design the boots for the humans and the orcs and whatever, and then they had to design like
Special cat boots.
Yeah.
But apparently that was to do with the hist as well. So I think
that's
in
a
that
convenient,
yeah,
like retconning, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's so, like
Like
basically you've got
the
magic.
Klingons, where they went, the ones with the ridges on their head are a mutation.
Of course, they
Yeah.
yeah. I think like that's going to be their kind of like explain all situation for anything that's a little bit weird. Hist did that.
Yeah.
Magic sentient
A
trees.
wizard did it.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this make sense? Wizards.
Wizards, just wizards. And I think they count as a race, so maybe he's talking about that. I don't honestly think we're going to get to see Dwemer because
Yeah. Well, isn't what's his name alive at this time? I mean,
Yagrum Bagar.
Isn't Yagrum Bagar
Yeah.
the sort of mechanical spider bloated
Yeah,
fella from Morrowind? He's alive, isn't he?
yeah. So he should still be in.
Where was he
Fry.
in Morrowind?
Yeah, so like I think it's Diveth Fry who's one
He'll
of the...
be in it. He'll be a quest giver.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
You'd be mad not to let people go and speak to the last living
Yeah.
mechanical dwarf man.
Because I want more Dwemer lore, because let's be honest, they're the most interesting thing about it.
they're
But I
amazing.
think the problem with the Dwemer is that when they explain it, it'll be less interesting.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, in Mass Effect series, they released a comic book explaining, like, the history of the Elusive Man, and, like, his past was way less interesting than the Enigma.
So he just becomes man.
Yeah.
He's no longer
it
elusive.
takes away. It takes away his whole, And without that Enigma, I don't think the Dwemer would be as interesting. So if you're like, if you end up on a different plane of existence, hanging out with loads of Dwemer and stuff, it would feel.
It would be...
Because to me, they're like those sort of brass monolithic heads, mounted on walls and dungeons. That's the mysteries there.
Yeah, I think as soon as they actually commit to telling you where they've gone, that'll die straight away, and I absolutely don't think they'll do
They don't
that.
want to midi-chlorian it,
No,
when
God.
all the mystery of the Force was stripped away. Oh, it turns out it's just little microbes.
Yeah, that's just the most boring way of explaining magic. Just microbes, isn't it?
So yeah, I think there's some things that they should stay away from, and they should keep the Dwemer's mystery intact, but they've got Jaguar Bagram to
scuttle about on his metal legs and give you a quest or two. I think the ones like I'm gonna put my neck out now. I reckon Slodes will definitely be in it. Like, do you know? Are you much of a Slode man? You may have seen Slode soap in some of the.
No, fill me in on the Slode or the Slodes.
I think that they're sort of. I'm not a Slode expert, but they're basically like sort of. They're kind of like the huts of the
so they're like crime lords, are powerful.
Sort of, they're completely like emotionless, and they just will do anything to gain an advantage. So like sort of kidnapping, murder, and theft.
Yeah.
As long as it advantages them, they'll do it. So they're kind of sort of halfway between hut and ent, in that they don't sort of do anything off the cuff and sort of sporadically. So
what do they look like?
They're kind of like giant, sort of squishy, fat bipedal lumps. So they're kind of a bit sort of frog-like. If you've ever played Warhammer, there's a lizardman race that had like their kind of magical sort of overlords look a bit like that.
So where do they hang out, the Slode?
I think they're on an island again, so
okay.
Sort of geographically away from everywhere else, but they're kind of a bit like going back to sort of plagues and stuff. They sort of unleashed like a disgusting plague sort of before this is set, and they sort of tried to wipe them out, but they keep coming back. And there's one particular one that we've seen, I think maybe in Arena or Daggerfall, called Engasta, who's like a follower of Manamaka, who's obviously part of the he's like one of the bad guys in this. So I think they'd be amazing if you could see them. Again, I don't think you're going to get to play with them, but my favourite quote that I found in the lore about them was, "The Slode language has no word for adventure," and the closest equivalent is more accurately translated as tragic disaster.
So they're big, like, hedonists, bloated hedonists who'd like to just sit and be safe and get others to do
I think so. But
well, they sound interesting. I'd love to do some like nefarious criminal activities for a Slode crime boss. That'd be amazing.
Bring it on. Right, so we're going to park the speculation train right there and go to a interview with MMORPG with Nick Conkle, who's the lead gameplay designer on the game. And there's a couple of new things in here that are potentially quite interesting. One is to do with mounts, which we've talked about briefly in the past, but he gave us exactly how levelling up the mounts work, and it's sort of fascinating and completely mad.
Yeah, I think they've done mounts better than any other MMO by making them, by giving them some gameplay and some progression, whereas mounts are usually just a thing that gives you 20x%, speed.
Yeah,
increase.
And that's the one really disappointing thing about WoW. Like when you first get your mount, after you've sort of done grinding for ages to try and get it, and it's just a summonable thing.
Yeah. And there's no like a sense of ownership with it. So yeah.
I think if you're leveling up something every day for, it comes with you till you're level 50, you will tend to get a real feel of it being like your thing, and you've made this. So
what can you, how does it progress? How does it grow?
So basically, once every 24 hours, you can feed them either apples, oats, or wheat, and depending on what you feed them, that will kind of increase like speed, stamina, things like that, or bag space. Amazingly, so like you can feed it something, and its bag space will increase.
Oh, so you could.
It's just like real life.
Yeah, if you feed a horse enough apples, it can carry more stuff.
Yeah, like it gets stronger. Yeah. So,
so is that like? So you can essentially do a mount build where you can go, right, I'm gonna just ply it with oats so I can get a massive bag space. Yeah, just turn it into a pack mule. Yeah, or you could just hammer it with apples to make it really fast at the expense of. That's really cool. That gives you like some adding decision making to not only your character but to your mount is really clever, I think.
I think it's, again, we keep saying this about a lot of the perks and things in the game, that there's a really Elder Scrolls-y way of giving you a choice about stuff other than just like buy this one. Yeah,
it's like when you level up, you get your a choice of health, magic, or stamina. Here you get, when you level your horse up, you get bag space, speed, and stamina. Yeah,
the three
What's
essentials.
The difference? Oh no, I guess with speed it's acceleration, and stamina it's how long it can run for.
Yeah. I think it is, like, when I first read it, I thought, like, it just sounds ridiculous, like feeding stuff, but as you pointed out, it's a really cool way of making it your own, and you can see loads of people with loads of different horses,
Oh yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any. I'd like to see maybe them change visually as like in, this is a weird example, but in Fable, like your dog changes depending on your decisions. I'd like to see the mount, because if you're playing like a sort of an evil character, you want to have like a black Shadowmere style. Yeah. You don't want to be running around on like a sort of painted mule or something. But yeah, that's I think that's really cool, because everything in a game should have a purpose, I think, and have some gameplay to it. I mean, obviously with some things it's role playing related, but I think adding gameplay to that is one of the smartest things that they've done, I think, to differentiate this from other MMOs.
I think some of this stuff gets lost as well underneath the kind of the mechanics that we often talk about, but they really do feel like they're trying to do interesting things with stuff that other people just put in as standard. So instead of it just being horse, there is a chance to sort of put a bit of personality in there. The crafting stuff he talked about as well was really, really interesting. I thought, like, I did a bit of cooking when I played the QuakeCon build, and I didn't really have the ingredients to experiment with it too much, but it felt very Skyrim, and I think they're doing that in this as well. But one of the things Nick said was that, so you have your two kind of elements that you put in for making like a thing. So if you have like steel and leather for a sword, then you have 3 additional slots that's basically like kind of a fruit machine of whether or not it'll be successful. So you can put any quantity of X substance into these 3 slots. So the example he gives are like rabbit guts, coal, and a whetstone. So like by adding coal and a whetstone, you might make the sword stronger and sharper. And the rabbit guts might not do anything, but occasionally you'll come across something that does something incredible.
Oh, okay.
So potentially anyone that's crafted anything will have used a different recipe, and there'll be this kind of like sort of code of stuff underlying everything that you make that will determine whether or not you made something brilliant. So there's going to be this whole community of people swapping kind of recipes for swords.
Oh wow, yeah. There's always people who like make a living essentially in MMOs by just crafting and selling. So anyone that figures that system out is going to make a killing. Selling. Whetstone shop and swords and stuff. That's kind of cool.
It'd be really interesting to see it sort of spring to life, because what they've said about like guild stores, I mean, that's basically replacing what we understand to be the auction house. And in my interview with Paul, he kind of like he made it quite clear that they are kind of going for that world economy thing, and this sort of like almost randomness and this learning curve to crafting, I think, will make it really, really interesting, because someone's going to crack it, like you say. They're going to become really, really rich, and then like it is in WoW, the sort of supply and demand will change over time, and they'll have to tweak it accordingly.
Yeah, because if it's too easy, then everyone's putting up the best possible, most efficiently crafted sword, and the market gets flooded with them, and then they lose value, and then the economy suffers. So yeah, they've got a. This is an interesting way of keeping the economy rich, I think, and diverse by giving you lots of possible outcomes of. I wonder if it'll be like, you know, like when you craft weapons in, or you enchant weapons in Skyrim, it adds like a word to the end, so it'll turn your mace into mace of something.
Rabbit guts.
Yeah, so you know, it'd be interesting to see if there's like a naming system there where you can create really weird and unique stuff. But I mean, that'd be harder in MMO because, you know, they've got to keep some sort of system in there. But if someone can like become like a master armsmith, that'd be amazing. Like if they were just like the only person in the game who could make this specific type of sword or something like that.
Yeah, and the potential there to sort of stumble across something amazing and then just not share it with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they say it's going to be like a really good thing for community, but like could quite easily be the opposite. Like just one guy clinging onto his secret.
He's just like strolling through like the capital of one of the countries, like with this great big flaming glass sword or something, and everyone's like, how did he get that?
Slowed soap, Kwama eggs and slowed soap. I mean, again, it's one of these things that on paper sounds a little bit mad. Just like you're just like, you know, this hugely delicate, refined process of blacksmithing. And I'll just chuck a few eggs in there. That'll make a better sword. Parking that one there, I think the final thing that you talked about, which I think is really interesting, is he basically explained what it means to become emperor. It's quite exciting and maybe a little bit disappointing from an RP point of view. Did you read about this at all?
Yeah, it's kind of mad, but I think it's cool.
So basically, the highest scoring person in an alliance will become emperor when their alliance holds all of the keeps in Cyrodiil. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And it kind of superpowers them the moment they become emperor. So I kind of. The image I had in my head was, you know, at the start of Lord of the Rings when Sauron comes out and starts knocking shit out of people with the giant mace. And obviously it's then beneficial for the two remaining alliances to gang up and get one of those keeps back.
Yeah. I love the idea of a supercharged, like emperor. Maybe you get some robes or something, like battle robes. And, you know, the powers will probably be like linked to, maybe you get like the Dragonfire amulet or something that gives you like some sort of mega powers. But I like the idea that everyone has to like suddenly drop what they're doing and try and take the emperor down, like take back the fort that he's protecting.
It's not going to last very long, I think.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of very short tenures, even shorter than Martin Septim.
Yeah. It's something I really like about any MMO that has a PvP element where they can like do this and give you like something really amazing at the end. And I don't know if WoW still did it, but there was a while where like the highest scoring PvP people could get like the title of War Boss and things like that. Like, and you never lose your title in World of Warcraft, and I assume you probably won't in this either, because one of the things I noticed in the QuakeCon build was that there is the option there for titles. So you know, you could be anything from sort of former emperor to cook.
Oh yeah, like former emperor would be good. It's going to be like Game of Thrones. The ruler will be changing every week. Like there'll be, you know, constant scrapping over the white gold tower.
They'd be mad not to do that, really, wouldn't they? With the sort of popularity of Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
It's a cool idea, though. I think, and I think it's really the only way you can do it. Because what else are you going to do? You're going to be like fixing taxes from.
Yeah. I think at the state that the empire, or the lack of an empire, means that all your empirical duties will be fighting people,
murder, just killing.
You're not going to be sitting on the throne like having serfs coming in asking like, oh, can you lower the tax on pigs? Whatever.
That'd be brilliant.
That'd be good though.
Yeah, do that. Someone make a mod for that. Just a really sort of ordinary, boring grind.
That's like in Fable 3, isn't it, where you become king, you sit there on a throne and people come in and like petition you for stuff, and you've got to like say, oh, be gone, or oh yes, I will decree that and help you.
I'd be up for that. Like, again, MMO that gave you real power to do stuff like that would be. I'd love that. And that leads us sort of quite neatly into what I think is probably the most exciting part of every show. It's Olaf time.
Yeah.
Can you give us like a brief preview about what's coming up? Because this is your baby.
Well, this is episode 2. For anyone who hasn't caught up yet, Olaf Season 2 is called The Cabbage List, which is sort of a play on The Bucket List. You know that film with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman? Well, they had made a list of things they wanted to do before they kicked the bucket. So it's kind of just an opportunity to show you lots of interesting little things in Skyrim that you might have missed. So Olaf's on a quest to do all these things before he dies, because this is set 25 years after the first series, Rags to Riches. So he's older, his beard has greyed a bit, and we've done the first 3 things already on the list, which were to jump off of Bard's Leap, that great big stone pillar in Forsworn territory, and then what else did he do?
Hot Springs.
Hot Springs, he stripped down and had a bath in the hot springs, and then what else did he do?
Oh gosh, I can't remember now.
I've forgotten. Anyway, the next one is the next 3 things on the list, and fans of Rags to Riches will like this episode a lot, because it addresses a contentious point, a dramatic point in the first season that had got a lot of anguished comments.
I haven't seen it. I don't know
viewers.
What happened.
So yeah, we deal with that. But even if you didn't like Rags to Riches, so you didn't see it, it's just an excuse to see. It's basically secrets and Easter eggs and cool stuff hidden in the map. And even though I've played Skyrim for probably like 400 hours or something for work and at home and across the DLCs, and there's still stuff I'm finding while I'm doing this series that I didn't know about. So it's pretty amazing. So please enjoy episode 2 of The Cabbage List. Now, it's been 25 years since we last saw Olaf. He's been living a peaceful life with his wife Gilfrey. He's getting old, and he thinks that before he goes, there are some things left in Skyrim that he has to do. So he's put them in a list. That list is the Cabbage List. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of The Cabbage List. Now, on the way to the next thing on Olaf's list, he spots a dog in the distance and it runs away from him, so he gives chase. When he finally catches up with the thing, he appears at a shack, which the game says is called Miko's Shack, which is just slightly west of Morthal. Inside he finds the dead body of a Nord, one of his Nord brothers, and a journal that explains that rock joint, one of Skyrim's many exotic diseases, claimed his life, leaving his poor dog alone in that shack. Now, luckily, one of the things on Olaf's Cabbage List was to get a new dog after the sad accidental death of his dog Cabbage, so this is the perfect opportunity to rescue this little fella from a lonely life next to his dead former master. And so he drops a cabbage and takes the pooch with him, naming him Cabbage 2. Next on the Cabbage List is a place that Olaf has heard about whispered in taverns called Pilgrim's Trench. So he and Cabbage 2 head off to the far north of Skyrim, just down the coast from Windhelm. Now, legend has it that in Pilgrim's Trench there is the wreck of a ship, and legend also has it that on this wreck there is some treasure. So Olaf strips down. He strips down a lot in the Cabbage List. Takes an elixir of water breathing, which gives him a minute of underwater breathing, which should be enough to get down there. And so he plunges into the murky depths of the Sea of Ghosts. There's a lot of shattered, ruined ships down here, lots of driftwood, and while he's down there he catches some salmon for dinner. Why not? Now, the biggest wreck looks like it might be where this treasure is. So Olaf dives into the biggest wreck and he finds a chest. And there's some alright loot in there, nothing Nothing to write home about, but it was all about the experience. Who knows whose ship that was and whether they escaped or not. It's a mystery, never to be solved. Olaf emerges back to the surface just in time. And of course leaves the customary cabbage to say that he was here. Olaf and Cabbage 2 continue their journey, and the next thing on Olaf's Cabbage List is a waterfall. Now apparently behind this waterfall, so he's heard, there is treasure. Before we can find out though, we've got a few mud crabs to deal with, but luckily Olaf's bow skills are such that they pose no threat whatsoever. And even Cabbage 2 proves his worth by charging in and killing a mud crab, although he did almost get shot with an arrow again. It would be pretty bad if we accidentally shot a dog in the first episode where we found them, but luckily we don't. Pretty impressive waterfall. There are bigger ones in Skyrim, but they do not all have treasure behind them. So Olaf charges in fully clothed. There's been enough nudity in this series so far, and goes to find the treasure. And well, there's a tiny little lockbox which has a gem in it. Well, treasure's treasure. And that's another thing striked off the cabbage list, and he drops a cabbage into the water.
So there you go, that was episode 2. As ever, the Olaf series will be sort of premiering in this show every Thursday, and we'll put it up on Fridays as well.
And you can follow Olaf
don't forget that, yeah.
on Twitter at Olaf Skyrim, and there'll be updates, and I post like little sneak peek images of the episodes and other fun bits on there. He's almost at 1,000 followers. He's like 983 or something. So follow Olaf Skyrim because it would please him, i.e. me, greatly.
I'm a bit sad that a fictional Nord peasant is definitely going to have more followers on Twitter than I will ever have. But one last thing that we should really have mentioned last week, which is pretty cool and it's coming out in September, is the Elder Scrolls Anthology. So basically this is like a huge bumper box set for PC of every full-on Elder Scrolls game. So you've got Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion and Skyrim.
And all the DLC.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Including the brilliant Shivering Isles, Knights of the Nine, and the Tribunal, and Blood Moon. Yeah,
I think all of those, in fact, are really, really good DLC packages. And I think Oblivion gets kicked a bit because of horse armour, which is included in the Steam version if you want it. But like the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine, I thought Knights of the Nine Special was a really, really nicely sort of self-contained story, right?
Yeah, it was good, that. And what's good about this as well is that Arena and Daggerfall, previously, to play them on PC, you had to mess around with DOSBox and emulation, and they're quite fiddly to get running. Presumably these versions in this box will be optimized for new computers.
I think they come with like a DOS emulator.
Yeah, so that'll all be it'll all be there, and you don't have to mess around with settings or anything. It'll be like when you download a game off goodoldgames.com. It's just all there. You just install it and it runs. So
I think it's definitely worth going back. Like I think certainly Arena and Daggerfall will feel old, but they're full of stuff. And Daggerfall's just enormous.
It'd be quite funny to go to Skyrim and Daggerfall, or is it Arena, and see like the primitive pixelated version of it and how different, because the layout's still roughly the same where all the towns are and stuff. Some of it was shifted around, but yeah, it'd be interesting.
They're quite rude as well, as like sort of some of the nine, like Dibella, who's the sort of goddess of love. I think like there's pixelated nudity in this.
Yeah, it's like you know all those old late 80s fantasy games where the cover was always like some Conan lookalike with like a girl in a leather bikini and with a broadsword,
isn't it?
It's that with big hair and all that. It's like that kind of cheesy fantasy, high fantasy kind of thing. But you know, they they got a little bit classier.
Yeah.
When it came to Morrowind. But yeah, if you want some of that vintage late 80s big haired high fantasy, then yeah.
I wonder if people are going to look back at now and say, like, why has every game front cover got a man that's facing the wrong way? Like, why is everyone looking away from us?
Oh yeah, this generation is going to be the butt of some really bad jokes. And it's going to get some stick. I know it.
So the only two things it doesn't have are Redguard and Battlespire. And without wishing to be too cast, it's not a huge loss because they're not real full-on Elder Scrolls
Redguard
games.
was like an attempt to turn it into something more accessible.
It's
wasn't
like
it?
Prince of Persia, sort of Tomb Raider style.
And yeah, I think that was the first time you got to run around. Where is it? Stros Mackay it's set on.
I think so. Yeah, there's the one with Osiris, the Redguard.
Yeah.
Sort of a bit
Stros
piratical.
Mackay, it's like a pirate type island.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, for in terms of lore and seeing other parts of the world, maybe it's worth finding on an abandoned war site or something. But yeah, I don't think it's any. I wouldn't say it was part of the legacy of the main series.
No, it just definitely feels like a bit of a deviation, doesn't
Or
it?
the Oblivion mobile phone game's not on there.
No, surprisingly not. No. Yeah, so the whole lot is out on September the 10th in the US and September the 13th in Europe. It's $80 in America and £50 here. I think that's a lot of game.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Imagine you'd never played Elder Scrolls before, and you had Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim to go through. Like,
daunting.
Yeah, and all the DLC. That's a whole chunk of a life right there.
Right, so that's all we've got for you this week. Don't forget, please do subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter at Tamriel Herald if you want to keep up with the latest news. And as ever, don't forget to follow Olaf. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye.